listen up, man. When it comes to life, each and every single one of us wants to experience the peak pinnacle point of it. Yet the problem comes down to the fact that most of us equate pleasure to this peak pinnacle point, when in reality, it's a much deeper experience that you're actually yearning for. So I'm here to tell you today, forget about pleasures, forget about chasing all that stuff, and focus on this instead. So without further ado, let me break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. Now, I'm gonna just break it down to simple terms. What is pleasure? Pleasure is an emotion. What is emotion? An energy in motion. It's always changing, it's always fleeting, it's always in a state of flux. It's never truly grounded and present. You might feel happy one day, you might feel sad one day. You might feel mad one day, you might feel calm one day. That's emotions. They come and go. I'm not saying emotions are bad or anything like that, but what I'm telling you is that's just the nature of emotions. Pleasure is derived from emotion, derived from something that is illusionary, temporary, false. It's not real in a sense of course, pleasure is real, but it's not real in the sense that it actually sticks with you and it's something to actually go towards and actually pursue. It's like trying to grab water. You can never grab water. You might have like a little bit of water in your hands when you actually go out and grab it from like a river or an ocean, but eventually it's just going to dissipate and fall through the cracks of your fingers. You can never grab water. You can never attain true pleasure because that's the nature of it. It comes and it goes. It's something that's not going to be sustainable for the long term. And along with that, pleasure is an emotion that you get externally, through external means. And now what do I mean by that? So, let's say for example, you go eat some food and you get pleasure from it. You feel amazing while you're eating the food. Eventually, after you ate the food, a couple hours later, that pleasure goes away. You went to external means, things outside of yourself, to get that emotion that's temporary and then eventually dissipates. This is why I'm saying that most people connect the peak pinnacle point of life, the highest experience, with pleasure. Everyone thinks that pleasure is what's going to bring them true happiness in life, true just overall state of, man, this is just the best feeling in the world. And it might seem like that for you. And the whole world, the whole society in general, the whole matrix, the Maya, the illusion, whatever you want to call it, is designed to have you take your attention away from internal growth and internal joy that we're going to be breaking down towards external means of pleasure. So you always are chasing after something from the next to the next to the next to the next. Cars, clothes, hoes, food, just keeps going in that cycle. You'll never, ever, ever be satisfied, and you'll never actually truly give your soul the feeling that it's yearning for, which is internal joy. And internal joy is also eternal joy. Let me say that again. Internal joy is also eternal joy. It's everlasting. It's always there. Once you tap into it, you are there forever, depending on how long you want to choose to stay in that point. It's always there and it's always been there because it's emanating from within. It's emanating from the source that you are a part of. And pleasure compared to joy, they will never equate. Like I've talked about before on this channel, sensory pleasures will never equate to spiritual ecstasy. Same rules apply. Pleasure in general will never equate to true joy that comes from within. Yet again, like I just said, the whole world is designed to rob you of your attention so you go seek externally rather than actually detach from the external world, revert your attention back internally, and find all the answers and all the joy and all the things that you're looking for in the outside world, that you figure out it's all within you. You figure out that all that stuff has been residing within you this entire time. this entire time. And this is what true spiritual knowledge will teach you. This is what the true mystics, monks, sages, sadhus, all these people from all different parts of the world, from all different religions, from all different spiritual philosophies will teach you at the end of the day. It is joy that your soul and your spirit is yearning for. It's a higher vibration, it's a higher frequency, and it's a higher state of existence. Pleasure is temporary, it's an emotion, it goes. That's more of feeding into the body, the animalistic side of you. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm just breaking it down for what it is. If you always are chasing and focusing your attention on pleasure, you're always going to be stuck on that hamster wheel that keeps on spinning, keeps on spinning, keeps on spinning. And you're never going to truly attain that feeling of joy that you really want. That's what you really are yearning for. That's what you really belong at. That's the state of existence that you truly are meant to operate at. In a state of true divine bliss and joy, aka what I like to call spiritual ecstasy. Not MDMA, not Molly, not ecstasy as in the pills, but spiritual ecstasy that's actually attained from within. And since we're talking about drugs and chemicals, I kind of want to break it down into another level. To me, pleasure, I'm not no scientist. This is just what I'm kind of breaking down in my own perspective and my own experience. Pleasure, it can equate to dopamine spikes, while joy is like serotonin. For the people out there that know the difference between the two, you know. But for the people that don't, relax. Your boy's about to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. Serotonin, if you've taken mushrooms, if you've taken any type of psychedelic, or even, like I just mentioned, MDMA, Molly, stuff like that, that is the euphoric feeling you get. Euphoria. It's far beyond anything you can put into words unless you've actually experienced it. I can't tell you what a mushroom trip feels like or an MDMA roll feels like unless you've actually done it. So, in my best possible case scenario, euphoria is the best word I can describe it as. Euphoria is a state of just complete bliss. Complete, like you're completely in the present moment and you're showered with chemicals of just pure, like what I'm trying to, I can't explain it into words, but pure just joy. Like you feel like you're a kid in a candy store, but like on steroids and HGH. Like if that makes any fucking sense. Hopefully that does. But dopamine is like a quick little high. You're just like brr, brr. That's it. You get a little feeling of, wow, that tastes good. Wow, that was funny. Wow, and then you just go back to baseline. Euphoria is when that baseline just goes to the next level. And you're just operating, this is like this state of existence that you're at that you cannot attain through those lower level pleasure means. It cannot be attained through that. You can get dopamine from fast food. You can get dopamine from laughing. You can get dopamine from pornography. You can get dopamine from all these things. But serotonin, you can't get it from that. You cannot. It's much more intense and it's much more like, think about it like this. 10 hits of dopamine equates to 0.5 hits of serotonin. And it lasts longer, it hits harder, and it feels much better. That's what I'm saying. If you're chasing for pleasures, it's like having $5 in your bank account, going to the gas station, and buying shit food. But if you're actually focusing on living in a state where you're focusing that and redirecting that attention back inwardly to unlock and unleash the joy, the divine radiance, the divine bliss that's already within you, It's like you are taking that $5, multiplying it by 10, and then going and getting a much better meal. A actual full-on meal that's much more tasty, that's much more fulfilling, that's much more nourishing to you. A lot of people in general, within the modern world, again, because it's designed in that way, are just cashing in their attention, cashing in their chemicals to just get some dopamine, rather than actually focusing towards their internal growth that will get them serotonin and true joy that they yearn for. I'm telling you, man, they cannot equate. Spiritual ecstasy cannot equate to sensory pleasures. It cannot, like, they're not even in the same stratosphere. They're not in the same just categories. That's the peak pinnacle of life. And I'm not saying you got to take mushrooms, you got to roll on MDMA, none of that. Relax. I'm not telling you any of that to experience this. But what I'm saying is those are like shortcuts to that point. And if you feel it one time, you're going to be like, damn, man, these things are like very powerful. These little psychedelic compounds are super powerful. But how do I attain that point myself without any external means? It can give you a taste of what these states are like. But when you actually do these spiritual practices, you actually develop your psyche and actually develop your mind, develop your body, awaken the soul. This is how you attain it naturally from within. This is something that you can actually access through your own work, through your own path, and through your own purpose, without the need for any other type of experience outside of yourself. It's simply the universe showering you with the divine radiance that's already within, because you've pressed the button. You flipped the switch. You're living in a state where you understand that all this external bullshit that the world kind of perpetuates at you is temporary, it's illusions. It's never going to give you that true feeling of joy that you want, that your soul yearns for. This is why, again, so many of these mystics, monks, sadhu, sages, all these people, even spiritual leaders, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Krishna, whatever you want to kind of bring it towards, they renounce the external and worldly pleasures because they were sick and tired of it. They realized that, man, this is, as the Buddhists call, the cycle of suffering, the cycle of samsara. I get something, I feel great, and then I go back into my old ways because I get bored of it, and now I'm quote-unquote depressed, and I'm looking for the next thing. And that cycle just keeps on perpetuating over and over and over and over and over again. But for you to actually break free from it, what they say, what the Buddhists say, is you need to sit in the center of the wheel, the center of the cycle, and watch how the external world around you just keeps on spinning round and round and round and round, but you stay calm, serene, and stilled internally. And that's when it finally breaks, because you have reverted your attention back towards your internal growth and tapped into joy by doing that. You realize that I don't need this to feel joy. I don't need that to feel euphoria. I don't need any of this type of stuff that, oh man, dog was knocked over the camera. I don't need any of these types of things to get to that point and get to the peak pinnacle of the human experience. All I need is already within me. That's how you break the game of life. That's how you break these psychological constraints that society puts on us. Oh man, you need these fast cars to look cool and feel like you're a G. Oh man, you need these fancy clothes to feel like you're fly, this and that. Oh man, you need to go smash a bunch of these women to make yourself feel like you're an alpha man. Oh man, you need all this and this and this and this and this, but you're always looking for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. And guess what? You are pumping money into their economy that keeps the cycle running more and more and more again. This is all a plan. This is all a system set up to make you a part of the machine, make you a mere cog in this machinery and this movement that they are building. But once you realize how the matrix works by actually reverting your attention back inwardly, this is when you actually break it completely. Because you attain joy that can only be accessed from within, that just supersedes anything else you can possibly think of. anything else you can possibly think of. And one of the funny stories that kind of exemplifies this, especially for me, I have a good friend of mine who is super well off in his early 20s, like 22 years old, 23 years old. I'm talking balling. Lambos, McLarens, Rolls Royce, this, that. And I asked him one day when I went to go hang out with him, I was like, yo, man, how does it feel after a month of having the Lambo, a month having the Rolls Royce? He's like, it was just like a toy to me now. Kind of bored of it. That was one of the moments I was like, man, this consumerism cycle, this carnality cycle I've talked about before on this channel, consumerism and carnality are designed to keep you in those lower states of consciousness. That stuff will always keep on spinning until you realize it. You can get these cars that people dream of, they jerk off to. Like, they got posters of it in their fucking room. Get it. After a month, you're already over and looking for the next thing. Quick dopamine high, very high dopamine high. I'm not gonna say that it wouldn't feel amazing if you're someone that really enjoys cars and gets to that point, but if you make that the pinnacle of your life, it's like getting to the top of the mountain and then everything just crumples, an earthquake happens. And then you gotta find another mountain and then the earthquake happens again, crumbles up. But when you look internally for that joy and you access it from within, it's like you get to a mountain, the top of the mountain, and the mountain just keeps on getting just larger and larger and larger. You're always on that perpetual slope towards perfection, towards living a life of pure bliss. It just gets better and better and better. There is no high point and then you drop back down. It's just like a exponential growth curve. It just gets better and better because you are more able to access yourself from within seamlessly, more efficiently, as you understand and just overall understand your internal being and your internal nature, which will allow you to operate and maneuver your external world in a much more seamless fashion, in a much more calm, smooth pattern. You're not going to be tripped up and trapped up by whatever society tells you that this is the version of success. You have to have this, you have to have that, you have to have that to be fully successful. But in reality, you're just getting some quick dopamine highs through pleasure and never going to really equate to pure joy that your soul, your spirit yearns for. That's why, again, these people that I keep bringing up, the mystics, monks, sages, gurus, all that stuff, can literally sit in a cave for years on end. I'm not telling you motherfuckers you have to do that, but they can sit in a cave for years on end meditating and feel just euphoria that you couldn't even, a drug couldn't even get you to that point. Literally, it could not even get you to that point. Because it's universal divine bliss that's only accessed from within, man. And for you guys out there who are watching this channel, who are watching the main channel, we're tapped into the private Patreon community. Shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Look, bro, if you like talks like this, if you like discussions like this, you're truly doing yourself, yes, you're doing yourself a disfavor by not joining up to the private Patreon community, because within there, you'll get access to exclusive content that I'm not dropping on this channel, the main channel, or anywhere else, that gets more in-depth and in detail to all these types of topics, along with full guides, in-depth occult lectures, and most importantly, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier within the private Patreon community, you'll be able to tap into our private group chat where we host 2 monthly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, 2 live calls each and every single month. We hop on a call with me, as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on this path towards self-mastery, who are also focusing on attaining that inner joy and bliss that only is accessed from within, instead of chasing external pleasures, instead of chasing and being in that hamster wheel over and over and over again, in the cycle of suffering, in the cycle of samsara, in the cycle of carnality and consumerism. They're focused on higher pursuits, on higher planes of existence, and higher aspirations that will get to them to that point to truly be fulfilled within their purpose that will come with true joy and bliss. So if you're interested in topics like that, you're interested on being on this path towards self-mastery, and actually want to get up on some more game for your motherfucking brain, tap into the private Patreon community by checking the links posted in the pinned comment of this video, because within the pinned comment of this video, you'll also be able to check out our other services, whether that be one-on-one personalized coaching with me, booking a one-on-one consultation call, free community Discord server, weekly newsletters, all posted in the pinned comment of this video. Make sure to run it up, bro. Make sure to run it up. But what I was saying is, for the people that are tapped into the main channel, tapped into this channel, who might be tapped in the private Patreon community, working with me one-on-one, doing consultations, all that good stuff. You guys realize, I keep saying this, especially for this channel, if you're able to watch this far into a video about these topics, you are more mentally and psychologically as well as spiritually matured than the masses. I'm not saying you're better than anyone. I'm just saying you're a little bit further ahead on this part of the journey than most people. It could be through your upbringing, it could be through your past lives, it could be whatever. You were just blessed with that point to actually grasp these concepts and actually understand the deeper essence of reality. You realize what I am saying is the truth. It's not from me. I'm not making shit up. I'm just telling y'all, I'm breaking shit down like a brick about what the games and what the rules of this game of life is. If you are always chasing after pleasure and making that the overall pinnacle of your life, you're never going to actually be able to tap into what it really means to be fully fulfilled. Fulfillment is what you really want. Joy is what you really want. It isn't the concepts of quick dopamine high, quick pleasure, quick. Things that come fast will not last. Things that come fast will not last. You want to be living a life where your state of existence is perpetuated in true joy, in true bliss, not in temporary, illusionary emotions that come and go just like the wind, just like trying to hold water. It's never going to happen, so why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting your energy? Why are you wasting your effort on something that's futile, on something that's going to dissipate? When your body finally depletes of all its life force, what remains? What actually stays? The spirit, the soul, the something that's actually internal. That's eternal. And that state of joy that's contained within your spirit will remain on beyond your physical death. Even though there's no more life force in your body. That radiance, that divine joy, that divine bliss is still being tapped into through the spirit and the soul. That's the ultimate pinnacle point of life. And I'm not telling you pleasure is bad. What I'm saying is if you make it the actual goal, the end product of your life, you're always going to be chasing to the next, to the next, to the next, and to the next. But if you're living a life where you directly focus on your purpose, which gives you true fulfillment, which in turn gives you true joy, pleasure will become a byproduct. And better yet, the pleasure in itself gets shifted on and replaced with joy. Dopamine gets replaced with serotonin. That's what you want. I promise you that. I promise you that. That's what you really want in life. It's not things that are illusionary. They're not things that are just temporary. I'm telling you, this is what you want. And the more you understand this, and the more you actually revert that energy and attention inwards, and you might be wondering, okay, how do I do that? How do I revert all my attention through things, or through other practices like, of course, things like celibacy, semen retention, spiritual sadhanas, all the things that we discuss on this channel, main channel, as well as, of course, the private Patreon community that gets more in-depth and in detail about mastering your senses, not being a slave to your overall body, not being a slave to your emotions, but actually being the one who controls all this stuff, taking back the reins, taking back the control, taking back the power of yourself, that's how you revert the energy. Not just dispersing it, looking for external means to give you a little bit of dopamine high. When you further understand that and actually get onto that journey and that path of self-mastery, which will lead to self-realization, who you are, what you were really brought here to do, you're going to be looking at yourself in the past like, man, I was sleepwalking. I was a zombie. I was on autopilot mode. I was like a rat chasing for cheese. But now I'm a spirit and soul pursuing gold. God damn. That's a bar. You went from being a rat that's chasing cheese to a true sovereign spirit and soul that is purifying himself to attain true gold. Come on now, come on now. That's what we do out here. Spit game. Spit game, drop bars, so you guys can continue to elevate on all different planes of reality, on all planes of existence. This is what it's all about, man. The true peak pinnacle point of life that you really want to experience is not anything that you'll find externally. They're going to come and go, and you're going to be on that cycle. It's like when that like meme or that kind of idea of like somebody on a horse or a donkey has their just like a fishing rod with a carrot hanging on it, and the donkey's just always trying to grab it, so it's always moving forward but can never fully grasp it. That's what you're doing if you're always going to cuck yourself spiritually with chasing pleasures. You're cucking your soul, thinking that, oh man, this is going to be so great. I'm chasing pleasure, dopamine, when in reality, there's a much higher level to this life that you might not even be cognizant of. But I'm telling you right now, wake the fuck up. This is what you really want. This is what your soul really is yearning for. So stop letting the body, stop letting the matrix, stop letting the Maya control you, using your senses to make you navigate this life towards only chasing that cheese. Seek the true spiritual gold. And when I'm saying seek, I'm telling you, look inwardly. That's where you'll find it. It's always been there, and it always will be there. It's just a matter of fact of you actually taking the time, taking the energy, and taking the effort to actually make it happen. This is what really pertains on this path to self-mastery. We're using these tools, using these implements that we talk about on this channel, the main channel, private Patreon community, if you're in my personalized coaching program or just booking consultations. This is all the tools on the road to self-mastery, which will lead to self-realization and eventually get us that gold. We are realizing that the gold was already within us. The gold was already realized within the self. It was always there. I'm telling you, bro, if you're able to understand and grasp these concepts, most importantly, understand it, you are never going to be lacking true fulfillment in your life, lacking true joy in your life. People can take everything away from you, but if you understand the core principles and concepts of this, you'll always be fully steadfast within yourself, within the self. And before we wrap things up, another good story about this is the story of Job in the Bible. Bro had a great life. God took it all away. All of it away. All the external things away. From his family, from his just overall livelihood, his property, took it all away. And told that man, this is your purpose. This is what will make you truly fulfilled and give you internal joy. Go out and speak my message to the world. And he did it. There was a little tussle back and forth and just a kind of doubt in between, but that's what it takes. People can take all this stuff away from you. But if you're truly self-realized, and if you're truly on this path towards self-mastery, you will understand that this stuff can never equate to the internal joy that I'm operating at once I realize and this stuff clicks for me. So hopefully this video helped it click for you. Because again, stop focusing on chasing pleasures. They are futile. They're never going to get you to that point that you really are yearning for. And focus your attention inwardly to tap into true joy, true divine bliss, and experience life in this human form within a euphoric state of existence. It's Benny Boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains, and I'm out of here. Peace.